1 year of the war in Ukraine, and Newsmax has been there since the start. Our reporters have been to 25 cities and traveled 2,500 miles. Correspondent Chuck Holton reports.
In early February 2022, satellite data showed the largest Russian military buildup since the Cold War. U.S. intelligence warned of invasion in late February. Our Newsmax team scrambled to cover the emerging crisis. We've been there ever since. Surprisingly, most Ukrainians didn't seem that concerned. They'd already been enduring Russian aggression for 8 years. But on February 24, 2022, life as Ukrainians knew it came to an end. Putin orders a full-scale invasion by land, sea, and air. Russian troops pour into Ukraine from the north and east, and the Russian Navy pounds southern cities. World leaders call the strike unprovoked and unjustified, and immediately levy sanctions on Russia. More than 70,000 Russian troops try to encircle the capital, Kyiv, but the advance quickly bogs down. Russian troops are poorly trained, led, equipped, and very poorly motivated. They encounter a fierce resistance, which causes the advance in the north to stall. As the invasion bogs down in late spring, Russia resorts to long-range missile strikes, causing thousands of civilian casualties and billions in property damage. Hospitals, homes, and schools are being hit as often as military targets. By April, Russia's campaign against Kyiv fails, and they pull back to refocus their combat power in the east. After the withdrawal, proof of horrendous war crimes and human rights abuses come to light in areas the Russians recently controlled. In May, Russia takes the strategic southern city of Mariupol after 4 months of costly fighting. The city is all but leveled, and thousands are dead, including hundreds of civilians murdered in an airstrike on a theater clearly marked with the word children. Russian cruise missiles, cluster munitions, and thermobaric weapons continue to fall, sparking yet another humanitarian crisis as Ukrainian farmers are unable to ship their grain to market. Global wheat supplies plummet, exacerbating the worldwide supply chain crisis. Concerns about a disaster at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant dominate the airwaves in summer as Russia holds the facility hostage and threatens the plant's staff. In September, Ukraine mounts a counteroffensive, cutting off vital supply lines with the help of newly donated American HIMARS rocket launchers. Taking the Russians by surprise in the north, they quickly liberate more than 600,000 square kilometers. Taking heavy losses, Vladimir Putin announces the first call-up of Russian civilians since World War II. Russian men flee the country, hoping to avoid being pressed into service. Putin also decides to annex Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia. But just days later, on his birthday, a suspected truck bomb causes major damage to the Crimean Bridge, a vital supply route for his forces. Then the Ukrainian army retakes Kherson in what becomes the Russians' most stinging loss to date, and sparking celebrations in the streets as Russians retreat. As winter approaches, Russia targets critical infrastructure to use the cold as a weapon. Many villages in Ukraine lack electricity, water, and heat due to daily rocket attacks. 1 year later, a major Russian offensive with up to 500,000 troops hopes to defeat the Ukrainians before they can deliver promised tanks and long-range weaponry to the battlefield. However, Ukraine now has a 1 million-man army and is better prepared for Russia. Experts say the war could last years,